You know what? This is a labor of love for Jay, and as a result, he's my friend. We're here to talk about that and nothing else.
Katt Williams was right once again, and this time, he didn't just call out Hollywood. He practically beat the feds to the punch. The man exposed a whole lineup of celebrities who've been playing right in our faces. Now that the Epstein files are out, we finally know which stars are in deep trouble. Even the ones everyone swore were too pure to ever be involved in something so twisted. When Katt showed up on Club Sheehy, he blew the lid wide open, and ever since then, Hollywood's been shaking. And from the looks of it, he's not slowing down one bit. When the Epstein files dropped, so many people were in flat-out denial. Nobody wanted to believe that their favorite celebs might be just as shady as the politicians they've been dragging for years. Take Jay, for example. His name popped up in those files after an anonymous victim identified him, but his fans instantly started defending him, saying there's no way he could be mixed up in something like that. The case dates back to 1996, right when he was just getting his start in the rap scene. But according to the victim, she woke up in a room with Weinstein and Jay-Z, and things turned dark fast. Weinstein was reportedly crossing every line imaginable, doing things he had absolutely no business doing. And here's the shocker. It's being said that Pusha T was the one who allegedly helped set the whole thing up. This whole situation is beyond wild. People keep saying Jay was too new in the game to be mixed up with the big industry elites. But that's not the full story. Sure, he was just coming up in 1996, but being new doesn't mean being disconnected. Those are two completely different things. Back then, Jay wasn't just some random rapper trying to make it. He was already moving strategically, linking up with the right people, and climbing fast. There's even old footage of him with Weinstein that makes people seriously question what was really going on. If you've seen that clip, you know what I'm talking about. Go rewatch it and tell me it doesn't look like Weinstein was practically handling him. The energy in that video is off.
And the kids were not always enthusiastic about the food that they were being served. So they were always trying to call for pizzas. And you can't order a pizza to the White House.
Would love you to come over for pizza, but how was the pizza? Was it good?
Oh, what
Did he make it
Mom's
himself?
pizza was better than, because they both made, everybody made a certain kind of pizza.
There's no pizza we didn't love.
Something.
Should eat pizza? I was like, well, no, I don't want to. And then, because I just didn't want to. I just didn't want to. Where did we go? We went True Kitchen.
Hold on a second. I'd let you to promote whatever you want, but I need to take a step back because you just said something crazy. What do you mean, why would you want to eat pizza?
Like Jay wasn't just there by coincidence? It's wild. And that's not even the end of it. There are multiple leaked photos and clips floating around of Jay at two wild parties that nobody wants to talk about. One of those videos is so explicit it can't even be posted publicly, but it's been circulating on Twitter for those who've gone digging. The video reportedly shows Jay in a room with another man, while two women were performing suggestive acts for their entertainment. The whole situation has people wondering what kind of circles he was really moving in back then. The second batch of evidence came from a set of photos showing Jay and Harvey side by side at Diddy's 29th birthday bash, and people can't stop talking about it. But that's not all. A resurfaced video from 2018 has Kanye calling out both Jay and Pusha, and honestly, everything he said back then still hits hard today. It's almost like he saw this mess coming years before anyone else did. And then things get even darker. A well-known comedian came forward, straight up accusing not only Jay-Z, but also Beyonce of allegedly taking part in strange ritualistic practices. That claim alone sent shockwaves through social media. But the wildest part, they weren't the only names being thrown into the mix. Katt had already been calling out a whole lineup of celebrities, and now these newly released files are basically backing up everything he's been saying all along. Naomi Campbell's name popped up too, and people went off. She got dragged all over the internet after reports came out that she allegedly took 5 flights on the infamous Lolita Express between 2001 and 2003. 2 of those flights reportedly started from the U.S. Virgin Islands, the same area where Epstein owned that private island known for its dark secrets and scandalous parties. A few other flights were said to have headed straight to Sao Paulo, Brazil, raising even more eyebrows.
You knew Jeffrey Epstein, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. You know, we flew Bill and a lot of different well, that was a humanitarian trip to,
Yeah.
and I met him on that trip because it was his plane. I didn't know who plane we was getting on, but it was a whole bunch of dignitary people. We was with a delegation. Yeah, I met him, and you know, you don't know people, what they do in their private lives.
Yeah, tell me this. You was on this private, and you could tell that it was a private plane because they called it, was it Lolita Express?
Oh yeah, it was a private plane. Yes. Oh yes.
But wait a minute. You didn't never go to that island.
No. I don't know where that thing is.
But it doesn't stop there. The leaked files included several emails hinting that Naomi and Epstein were allegedly coordinating how to get certain records shipped into the country, code that people believe was tied to his notorious events. One particular email even seemed to imply that she was supposed to service him in some way, which only fueled more outrage. Then came the resurfaced videos, clips of Naomi supposedly recruiting models that went viral overnight. According to the streets, that so-called model scouting might have just been a front to bring more women into the industry for powerful men. The accusations are beyond disturbing. Anyway, moving on, do you remember when Bill Gates got asked on national TV whether he regretted his connection to Epstein? That moment had everyone's jaws on the floor. When Bill Gates was questioned about Epstein, he sat there cool as ever and claimed he only had dinner with the man. But the files paint a totally different picture. According to those documents, Gates and Epstein weren't just acquaintances. They were reportedly tight. The files suggest Gates was actually a frequent visitor to Epstein's island, which shocked everyone who believed his calm TV explanation. And it gets even wilder. One leaked email allegedly showed Gates asking Epstein for antibiotics to secretly give to Melinda after he supposedly caught an infection from a group of Russian women. That detail sent the internet into a frenzy. Fast forward to 2021, and Melinda ended up divorcing him, walking away with a jaw-dropping $29.6 billion. When she allegedly learned what had been going on behind her back, she was said to be absolutely heartbroken. But the rabbit hole doesn't end there. Chris Tucker's name also came up in Epstein's files and flight logs. Reports say he flew on Epstein's private jet back in 2002, and people are now questioning what really went down on those trips. Yeah, the same jet Epstein used to fly back and forth to that shady island. Chris Tucker and his team quickly jumped into damage control, claiming he was only on the plane for a humanitarian trip to Africa about AIDS awareness and charity work, alongside former President Bill Clinton and Kevin Spacey. But honestly, nobody was buying that excuse. The timing, the company, and the circumstances, everything about it felt way too suspicious.
If you take people like Jay-Z and Pusha T, they made their living our people. So how the f they gonna stand up for our people? You know what I'm saying? But we forget that because we love Jay-Z's music so much. We love Pusha's music so much, right? But you think they would ever, Beyonce had the best for somebody else? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You think they would ever tell the truth? No, if they told the truth, they'd go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So you have liars. Man. Liars are now the face of our culture.
And mentioning Bill Clinton definitely didn't help his case. We've all seen those leaked photos of Clinton looking way too relaxed inside Epstein's mansion, like he'd been there more than a few times. You can't tell people you didn't know what was happening when you looked that comfortable in the middle of it all. Meanwhile, Chris was right there in those same circles, surrounded by people deep in controversy, but he still expects us to believe he was totally clueless about what was really going on? Come on now. When reporters asked him about the situation, you could see the nerves all over his face. He tried his best to play it cool, but he was stuttering, dodging questions, and doing everything he could to make it seem like it wasn't that serious. But his energy told a different story. Another big reason people weren't buying Chris Tucker's so-called humanitarian trip story is because Katt Williams had already called him out long before all this blew up. Katt said from day one that Chris was tangled up in Epstein's mess, but back then, everyone brushed it off and said Katt was just being bitter or jealous. Turns out, Katt was just way ahead of his time. Back in January 2024, when Katt sat down for that explosive interview on Shannon Sharpe's Club Sheehy podcast, he brought up Chris while they were talking about the possibility of a new Friday movie. Katt didn't hold back. He said the Chris Tucker we see today isn't the same Chris he used to know. Then he dropped a slick line saying that if he didn't know better, even he might have believed Chris was a good guy. That comment alone had everyone talking. But just when people thought Katt was done spilling celebrity secrets, he went even further. He started dropping shocking claims about Ashton Kutcher.
Jazzo and Jay-Z were in London living it big time back in like 88. They were in this huge, I'm born and raised in England, and I never saw an apartment that looked like that in England, or a flat, as we call it. I've never seen that. They lived
there for a little bit?
They were there for like, I don't know, 5 months, something like that.
And Nick Cannon being tangled up in the same dark circles. Every time Katt speaks, it feels like another Hollywood mask gets ripped right off. When it came to Ashton Kutcher, nobody was really shocked. Because let's be real, his name's been floating around messy circles for years. This man has built a wild reputation for doing business with almost every sketchy industry figure you can think of. And the stories about him just keep stacking up. He's been accused of trying to get with underage girls, showing up at suspicious crime scenes, allegedly funding shady operations tied to the mistreatment of people, and popping up at nearly every Diddy party imaginable. He just always seems to be where the controversy is. People online started digging deeper into his so-called anti-CT organization that he launched back in 2009. And what they found made everyone side-eye him even harder. According to rumors, that group was allegedly just a front run by Ashton and his questionable crew to secretly continue their activities without attracting heat from law enforcement. That accusation alone had social media on fire.
I was introduced to him on my 31st birthday by my ex-boyfriend Flavio. He was always front and center at Victoria's Secret shows.
Did you suspect what he was doing?
And we can't forget what happened in 2023, when Ashton went out of his way to defend his best friend Danny Masterson, who was facing serious SE charges. Despite all the evidence stacked against Danny, Ashton still wrote glowing letters to the judge, calling him a role model, a loving husband, and a kind, respectful man. He clearly didn't think those letters would ever go public, but once they leaked, people finally started seeing him for who he really is. As for Nick Cannon, he might not have been listed among those who visited Epstein Island, but he sure had a lot to say about the whole situation. And when Nick speaks, you know it's going to stir things up. Nick Cannon didn't even try to hide where he stood. He straight up sided with Katt Williams on everything he said. Nick admitted that, like most people, he once thought all those rumors floating around about billionaires and their twisted lifestyles were just too wild to be real. But after everything that's come out recently, he's not ruling anything out anymore. Even the strangest allegations sound believable now. And here's where things take an even crazier turn. People online have started speculating that Nick having so many kids with different women might actually be part of some secret ritual he doesn't want the public to catch on to. The theories just keep getting darker. Of course, social media blew up with opinions. One person commented that the scariest thing about the Epstein files isn't just the names listed, it's how many of those people still walk around untouched and protected. Another person said, funny how all these celebrities are loud about every single issue, except this one. That silence says a lot. Now I really want to hear what you think. Do you believe Katt Williams did the right thing by exposing the names tied to the Epstein files? And do you think any of these powerful celebrities will ever actually face prison time for what they've done? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and don't forget to share this video with your friends, because this conversation is far from over.